The following is a summary of the results of testing carried out by the Bion Institute into the effectiveness of the photonic shield in altering water state. Water responds to even very weak or subtle energy influences with changes to its structure that can be objectively measured. The spring water produced naturally by the Earth has an organised hexagonal state and is often referred to as structured water. The water that comes from our taps is treated in such a way that vibrationally alters its structure. However, it is possible to reinstate water's natural structure through exposure to certain environmental factors, which has the effect of repairing or healing the water. The geometries of the crystalline components in the photonic shield have such an effect. The Bion Institute is an independent research institution focused on observing and exploring the physical effects of ultra-weak emissions and electromagnetic radiation, which can't be detected by conventional testing methods. Through years of research, they have perfected various practices for detecting the influence of such emissions, using the human organism and water as a medium through which effects can be observed through objectively measurable changes. Certification is issued where a statistically significant impact can be proven, thus guaranteeing the reliability and scientifically verified quality of products and services. Bion's dedicated water research team were tasked with testing a water solution exposed to the photonic shield versus a solution which had not been. The team used two separate methods of testing: physiochemical, where they looked at ORP, which is the oxidizing potential, pH, which measures neutrality, and conductivity. They also use UV spectroscopy that determines levels of light absorption. Different volumes of solution and different lengths of exposure were used to confirm results. In Experiment 1, the Bion team observed a trend in ORP and a statistically significant difference in pH versus the control, which confirms the photonic shield's subtle emission. In UV measurements, they also noticed statistically significant difference between the photonic shield and the control. The absorption of the exposed solution is higher. In Experiment 2, with a higher volume left for a longer time, the team saw statistically significant differences in pH between the photonic shield and the control, which tended to increase over time. They also observed a big difference in conductivity variance between the photonic shield exposed and the control solutions. In Experiment 3, the team focused on UV absorption of a solution left for 7 days, after which time the team observed a higher absorption with the photonic shield versus the control, showing that the subtle field of the photonic shield triggers dynamic processes over time and that the volume also has an effect. In Experiment 4, the team continued to focus on UV absorption, this time with an almost 7 times smaller volume of solution. They assumed that a smaller volume would intensify the photonic shield's subtle field imprinting. Results showed a similar trend to the one observed in Experiment 2. Scientific testing of the subtle field's influence of the photonic shield in 4 experiments considered overall demonstrates a sufficient degree of statistically significant differences between the exposed and control situations. Thereby, an objective impact not based on placebo or just coincidental fluctuation is validated. Based on statistically significant differences between the photonic shield exposure situation and the control situation demonstrated in the testing, we acknowledge that the influence of subtle field emission of the product photonic shield meets all the criteria required to obtain the certificate of altered water state based on subtle field treatment number 0409. This dataset can be viewed in full on the research page of the photonic.global website.